Hello, everyone, and welcome to the East Cleveland Public Library's Watch Club series. Happy Black History Month to everyone. Yes, 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 Black Power, all that good stuff. In honor of Black History Month, this month's series or movie we chose was Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and it was on Netflix. We'd like to welcome our special guest today, Miss Patricia Cook. She's the one who gave us the suggestion on watching this film. And I must say, Miss Cook, this was a good one. I was not expecting it to turn the way it did.
Yes.
But it was I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. There's some amazing actors in there. Before we get started, let me give you a little background on Ma Rainey. Her real name is Gertrude Ma Rainey. She was born in, well, actually it doesn't say on here. It gives 2 different years. So it says 1882 or 1886. So we're somewhere in between there. But she was one of the early African-American professional blues singers, and she was one of the first generation of blues singers to actually record. And we see that in the film that we watched. So let's get into discussing. Did everybody like the movie? Yes?
Yes.
A good pick?
Good, good.
Okay. Did anybody have any, well, I guess let's start with Ma. How did you guys feel about Ma? Miss Ma?
I feel like she was problematic just to be problematic. Like sometimes I understood that, you know, she had to say what she felt, but some of the times like the coke and everything, like I felt like she was just really unforgiving. And I mean, it might just be due to the time that she was in, but it just seemed like every 5 minutes, whatever problem it was, like it was just like, I mean, I was like, forget about the coke. It's a coke. Like at some point, like I was just getting kind of aggravated with her character. Like I get that she didn't feel respected, but I was like, you don't have any amount of respect for anybody, not even just the like people that were recording, like even the band. She's like, this is what I'm gonna do, this is how I'm gonna do it, because it's my band. And I was like, okay, so why are we still talking about this? So
True. I can agree.
I'm glad she was like that.
I agree,
Me
Miss
too.
Cook.
I'm glad she was like that.
I loved it. She was
Because I could
unapologetic.
just imagine being there during that time. You already know you're making more money for them than all the other people. Look what they did. Look what they did. They took that man's music and gave it to the other people. So I'm glad she gave them a problem for a while.
Yes, I agree, Miss Cook. I loved it. She was problematic, but she was unapologetic about it. And I feel like during those times, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we weren't respected, but like you said, she didn't respect anybody, but they don't respect us. And sometimes you have to give that same energy just to show them, because she was making them money. You get what I'm saying? Like the folks, she could require all those things because they needed her. You see how they chased after her?
That's
Like,
right.
oh no. They ran after her, so she was able. She knew her worth, and she knew she was able to get the things that she wanted. So I was here for it. I like a little problematic now and then. So I love my Rainey.
And that's my thing too, because at the end of the day, I hope I can say this.
Whatever you want to say.
Well, I'm just gonna put it this way.
Open discussion.
The
open discussion.
Okay. I'm just gonna put it this way. I just feel like she didn't do nothing that one of those Caucasians or at that time, especially Caucasian, I feel like she wasn't doing nothing that they wouldn't be doing, because if they doing it, it's okay, yeah, running, here you go. And nobody looks at it as a bad. But when she doing it, and by her being a Black person, not only a Black person, a Black woman at that, who they were even more disrespected and heavily not, treated as equals and stuff like that. She like, no, I'm going to earn my. You gonna give me my cocoa? You gonna give me my cocoa? Now, don't get
my fan. Let's hear you. I loved it.
She deserved all of that. I was there for, like I said, I do to an extent. A little bit, I'm like, oh, she is a little overbearing, but I don't blame her. At the end of the day, If you want something done the way you want it, you done worked hard for it. I mean, maybe I'm putting myself in there, but that's like my fashion. If I don't want nobody changing my line, I want red. You ain't gonna tell me you gonna put orange in my stuff if I want red. That's it. If it's gonna make it a little better, we can work and talk.
General. That's what
I guess
I don't like people like that.
I agree on both ends where she was rude to the band, where like Toledo and all them, they weren't
right
to her at all. They didn't deserve to be talked to like that. Like
they didn't want to get fired.
Hello, they want their little money. They gonna pay them tools. How they
$25. They $25. That's what they got at the end of the day.
Look
when I heard $25, I said, I ain't doing that.
Look how she changed. Was that her nephew?
Yeah.
He used to stutter. He didn't stutter anymore.
Yeah.
So that fixed his problem? I thought it was just for that. Because he practiced that one.
It may have led up to that.
Yeah, it still led up to it.
You know what I'm saying? Like eventually he might have started talking. Like I said, if you learn and get better, you might.
People with stuttering fits, which is funny enough, Samuel L. Jackson has one. He that word he always uses, MFer, that actually fixes his stuttering. That's why it's actually why he says it so much. So sometimes, a certain amount. I don't think his stutter is gone, but children can learn how to say a certain word to stop their stuttering. So I don't think he's done. But I was so happy when he finally got through it, and then of course
I was getting mad. Like, I would have stopped.
It was honestly all the blame.
But like you said, like you said, you would have just gave up. But I like the way she did not let them record anymore until he got his part. Like, I'm not leaving anybody behind. And that was another part. Like, yeah, she was problematic, but she looked out for her people. Like, she made sure that her nephew, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not doing this without him. You get what I'm saying? So I like that. I did.
And at the end of the day, she wanted what she wanted, and she got what she got.
Only 7 tries, though. I could have made 7.
They threw away 7 records that they went over. They throw away.
Like, why couldn't they go over the records? Why couldn't they go over them?
So the records, I think they, you know how records have grooves in them?
Yeah.
I think that it actually makes the grooves. That's how it's allowed to play.
Well, why can't we just use it?
That's what ended up happening. Yeah, when you make a record, they're wax, and so once you like start, you can't actually stop. So that's what happens, and that going over the same record is how the sound comes out. That's why they had to keep breaking them.
Right.
But they broke them though. For her. Hello.
And then I don't think they have much information about her, so that's why everything took place in that one room, one setting. They don't have a lot of information about her. They don't even know, like you said, the exact date of her birth or whatever. So
I was expecting.
It gave me the feel of Fences, where it was one location. I was kind of getting bored with the one location a little bit, but
it's a filming device. A lot of people use it. It's really good. It can work in certain ways and it can work in not. It's sort of to force you. You can't be like distracted by what else is going on. It's to force the characters to talk to each other and deal with each other. So that's like part of the reason why I don't particularly like that filming device, but I can understand because I mean, in one afternoon, I mean, everybody's lives were changed. You know what I mean? Like even Toledo unfortunately lost his, spoiler. Sorry guys, but yeah, Toledo lost his, and Slow Drag was kind of like, I don't know what to say about this. Cutler was like, I never talk to this man again.
But you got to know every character. You got to know those characters. You got to know who they really were.
Exactly.
So you didn't really have much choice because you were in this one place.
Right.
Yeah. So so everybody was cool. We had our discussion about Ma. So Chad's character, what was his name? Levi?
Levy.
Oh,
Levy. Okay, so Levy. Levy took you for a wild run. What do you guys think about that? I was not expecting it.
Well, first, what did y'all think was behind the door that he was so persistent upon?
That's what I was wondering.
So he said in the beginning, he was like, "Oh, they changed it around. At least I would be able to look at myself." So I thought I was thinking it was
a dressing room,
or it could have been a dressing room. But when he,
I thought it was a better studio.
Bricks, I'm like,
Me too. Yes, or something. Yeah, I thought it was.
Like, you went for some fresh air. I was like, for some sunlight.
But Cutler did say it might not be he said it might be a different room, but they didn't change the room around. So what I think too is that I had an inkling that maybe he had a possible mental illness, just the way that events had, he went from like this huge like up sort of area, because at first he was like, they changed the room around, and I was like, that doesn't even sound credible. Like, how would they, it's a brick building, that doesn't sound correct. And then he just seemed very insistent on getting in the door. And like Cutler was like, it really doesn't matter, like let's just practice. And then like I felt like he was spiraling, because it went from like him being like, I want to get in the store, I don't need to practice, I'm gonna be fine, to like, Toledo, you ruined my shoes, don't look at me like that, Toledo, you ruined my shoes. And I was like, no one ruined your shoes.
So what did that room represent?
His mind, probably. He was trying to
his mind was like a brick wall.
He hit a brick wall.
He just ran into a brick wall.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, like he just spiraled, especially after he like had like stabbed Toledo. And then you notice he seemed like he was in denial, because he was like, you ruined my shoes, you stepped on my shoes. Like he was trying to make it feel like it was a sound reasoning for doing what he did. And then when he looked at Toledo's face, he said, don't look at me like that. So like you can see like the guilt kind of flushing over him, but he wasn't sad, but he wasn't happy. He was just like clearly, and like Cutler seemed to notice it too. And when he kept backing off, and I think this is just trauma from, as he described what happened.
Yeah, he was very traumatized. Yeah. And it goes to show you that somebody from the outside, somebody can do something to you, and the people close to you are the people you harm, or you same thing when you go to a party, you stepped on my shoe.
Right.
A shoe, people get shot for that. And it's because it's something else other than you just stepping on my shoe.
I think that first of all, he was upset in the very beginning. He already got the trauma about what happened to him when he was a little boy. His dad was supposed to be the man of the house. He felt like he could not be that because he couldn't stop the men from doing what they did to his mother. That was number one that was hanging over his head. He's carrying that baggage with him. Then they got upset because at first they said, oh, we're going to do it like how Levy wants to do it. Then when Mom gets there, they're like, oh, no, you know how bossy Mom is, she ain't having it, she ain't taking it, regardless of who said what. Y'all gonna do it my way. He was upset about that. Okay. And then when the guy at the end with Harvey,
took his music.
Yeah, took his music and then wanted to give him $5 each song. When he was promising him like, oh, you're gonna be able to record these, you can have your own band. That's why he was so adamant and so confident. Oh, I don't care, I don't need to be fire me, because of what this guy had told him. And then he just played him at the end like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. I think him stepping on Levy's shoe was like the last straw kind of thing. Like, okay, you know what? All right, you're gonna catch it. Of course, he's not gonna spaz out like that on Harvey, because he may need him again. He might try to go back to him later on and be like, okay, I got some more songs. So he
took his anger out on Toledo.
He knew he couldn't.
Well, he knew he also could kill Toledo. He could kill a black man and nobody would bat an eye.
Right.
I mean, let's really be honest here. Everybody would have been like, whatever. So I think what it was is he had already fought with Cutler, and then especially with the religion conversation, he clearly doesn't believe in God which is true. A lot of times trauma will shake your face. But I think that the other part too was that he just got so riled up and so mad. And Toledo was like, well, Toledo ain't doing nothing. I ain't studying you and all this other stuff. And like Slow Drag was over there. He needed a reason. He found one. He stepped on my shoes. I spent $11 on these shoes, which was a lot of money back then.
He was so happy about them shoes when he came in.
Yeah. So he knew that Toledo, clearly he either went to jail or, whatever, but nobody cares in that time. It's just black people killing black people, and people don't care about that. Like back then, instead of killing a white man, that would have been a whole different thing.
That would have been a whole nother.
And he claimed that I guess he did, quote unquote, learn from his dad, but at the same time, I don't know. In the same breath,
how your daddy played his hand.
Because his dad, he went and killed four of them, like you said.
Right.
Now I get it, like we just said. At the same time, if he would have went for that man, because who said? I forgot one of y'all. One of y'all, I think I'm going with whoever said he probably didn't kill that white man because he'll be able to go back one day, or whatever. But at the same time, if you would have handled it like your dad, that white man would have been dead because that was some foul stuff that he did. But at the end of the day, it's still going on till this day.
Exactly. And that was the next thing I was gonna say. How do you guys feel about the whole music thing in general? Like, has it really changed that much from back then? Because we do see people of color music and styles and stuff like that being taken. We've seen that with rock and roll. You know what I'm saying? We've seen it generation after generation after generation,
It's
years
still
after
going
years.
on.
Yeah, so is it really that much of a difference? You know what I'm saying? Has times changed that much?
I think it might be worse because now we have our own people taken from our own artists.
Yeah.
They don't own their masters and stuff because so and so owns their masters. You know, they're getting taken from probably worse now than they did before.
As creativity
difference to me
leaves
is
the
we got
world,
more Black artists out there. Per se, you know,
but added to it is the
still
lack of creativity. You know, I mean, it's going to be impossible if it isn't already to come up with anything original. You can only redo it and make it seem original, but nothing has not. It hasn't been anything that hasn't been done yet. So all you can do is put your twist on it and make it. You know what I mean? So I think that's the thing. Is that you're right. In the music community, people do take people's stuff. I mean, we hear our favorite artists getting accused of stealing people's music all the time. And it's because you have one sound engineer, he's got 50 beats, and you bought 2 of them. But before you bought 2 of them, somebody else bought 2 of them.
To everybody
else. 2 different songs and the beat. And I mean, honestly, we see it happen all the time. Vanilla Ice T or whatever stole from Queen, you know, it's all, everybody steals from everybody. And it's not even, it's an accidental, and sometimes it's intentional. And I think that was probably the worst part. That was the kicker at the end of the movie, is that he said, nobody wants to listen to that music. I'll give you $5 for the songs. I take them off your hands. And he was like, but you said, he's like, no, look, I told you no one wants to do this. And at the end, to hear him singing the music, it's just like, that's
he
really,
took it off his hands and put it in somebody else's hands.
And put it in his people's hands, not the people it came from.
And that happens so much. But because most people, there's a lot of people that can sing. They got beautiful voices. And then somebody said, you can sing, you should do this, that, and the other. Next thing you know, nobody goes to take a class on entertainment law, or you just automatically think that, okay, well, I'm gonna be this star. Okay, I'm gonna make you a star, but I'm gonna get rich.
That's right.
You're gonna be a star or famous, but you're not gonna get the money.
Nope.
I'm gonna get the money. You know what I mean?
You gonna get through.
Right. How about
people are
how about you a pink Cadillac like that man?
But that also makes me think, so with Levy and Ma, I feel like they had definitely some of the same characteristics, qualities, things.
They did.
Yeah,
but when it came down to that, how do you feel like, you get what I'm saying? Like, Ma, now you see why Ma was the way she was. You get what I'm saying? No one stole her music. If Levy would have been like that, you get what I'm saying? In that aspect, instead of just trying to be like the big man and, I'm playing how I want to play it, I'm playing how I feel it, all this other stuff. You get what I'm saying? He could have learned from her and how she carried herself. And like I said, how those men were chasing after her. You get what I'm saying? They weren't paying her $5 for her song. They wanted her voice, her band. They did it like they said. They told him he could do it his way, but when she said it, they went her way. You get what I'm saying?
And that's what she said. She's like, they don't want nothing but my voice.
But you see, I think
got that,
they wanted them to be, but he couldn't be like her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He couldn't get that from them because he wasn't there yet. He was trying to be like her, and I think he should have been a little bit more humble.
Exactly.
Acting like her, and you're not even in her shoes.
Exactly.
It seemed like they already had beef going on.
Like
absolutely.
Because he was trying to steal her girl.
I was gonna say in the beginning of the movie.
He said to fire him.
Remember, he was looking at my Rainey's girl.
Yes.
Somewhere else.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know that was her girl. I thought it was like her niece at first, and then when she started touching her, I'm like,
yeah, I was confused too when she started singing.
The way
like,
they introduced
hold
them.
on.
But I also think Ma Rainey is also the way she is because she's afraid of what'll happen with records. Because if you notice, she says they're trying to trap my music in this box, right? Like, because she doesn't really understand how records work, which is fair. It is, if you don't know the science, it's scary. And so it sounds like she's also worried about it affecting her livelihood. So she can't perform shows. She's like, they're gonna trap my music in this box and sell it, and I ain't gonna see none of it, right? They gave her $200, but I think that was the other part of it as well, which is also probably why she had the way that she was towards them, because she didn't fully understand it herself. And obviously she wasn't going to get royalties from it. They were going to sell it. But she's like, they're going to trap my music in this box, and I'm going to get, every ounce of sweat and blood out of these people before they can steal. Because I think it's what she more preferred to. She made it sound like they were stealing her voice because they were trapping it
in that box.
So, and I think that's the thing people fear, or I think they did too, and they say video killed the radio star. People feared that people would buy your music, then they would never come see you.
But that's why, like Aaron, like she said, the messed up part about Levy, in my opinion, was besides it being stolen, when he started singing his lyrics, and because he thought in the crazy part, he tried to play the game, but it's real messed up how it got turned on him. Because when you heard his lyrics, Jelly Roll or whatever, you kind of not being stereotypical or nothing like that, but you listen, you like, okay, that sounds like one of them Caucasian type rapper, whatever type songs, you know what I'm saying? So you like, oh, he trying to get in by giving them what he believes would sell and all that, what they want. And then once he quote unquote at Ma Rainey's level, but like Aaron said, he should have kind of come back and then kind of tried to learn from her. That way it could have happened. But that's why I said that's what's messed up about it. Because
So what did y'all think of the rest of the group? So Slow Drag, Cutler, and Toledo.
They were all cool. Was it Slow Drag who literally didn't want anything to do with anything? Like, just leave me out of it? Or was
that what are you doing? Literally.
When Levy and the girl came down, he was like, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
Like, y'all ain't gonna catch
Cutler was stuck in the middle. Like, I think he really he wanted to make sure that everybody was taken care of. And that's why he was like, we do what Ma say. And he really didn't have the patience to fool with them. Like, anybody studying you, man. Like, really, and I think that was another huge part of the dynamic, is because Cutler's like, look, it's really not up to me. And that's what it seemed like he really kept saying. Like, at no point during the movie did Cutler put his foot down and say, this is what we're doing. He was like, it's up to Ma. It's not up to me. He really doesn't care.
He was just there to play some music and
they were there to do their job,
and go home.
And they knew that. And I think that was the difference between the band and Levy, is like, he was there for music, but he was there for himself. They were there for Ma Rainey, and they were there for music. He was out for himself. Like, every little thing, the little changing up of his playing, it was for him to stand out. Like, Ma Rainey said, I didn't ask you to do all that. Like, you're confusing me. This is my group. You get what I'm saying? So again, it's like yeah, and that's what she was saying. I don't want to get there, but you could buy
But he also tried to protect Levy too. Remember, they was arguing, and then Ma said, when we get down south, throw him out the band. He was like, Levy's all right. Like, he was like, he don't mean nothing, ignore him. So you could tell that he didn't even really have any actual mouth. Like, he didn't feel any any ill will towards any of them. And I think that was the even more important part here, is that he kept telling everyone else, this is what Ma want, this is gonna do what Ma do. And then Levy, he was like, get rid of Levy, and he's like, I mean, is he really, I mean, he's a good player, you know what I mean? Like, he still felt like there was something he could use there.
Did you guys notice that this was like, I feel like all of them played their purpose, everybody in the band and stuff. Like, did you notice there was a lot of messages? Like,
yes. Yes.
His name.
Yes, it
He
was.
provided a lot of messages. Toledo, a lot of messages. Like I mean, some of the talks that they had, even with Levi, some of the talks he had with Levi, it was like lessons that they were teaching or messages that they were teaching.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if anybody else picked up on it, but like Miss Green said, what was his name? Slow Drag. He kind of was the, okay, you know what? I'm here to practice. I don't want nothing to do with nothing. I'm gonna go ahead and do what they asked me to do, and that's gonna be that. Leave me out of it. But everybody else was more so sharing parts of their life, different stories and stuff like that.
Right.
I noticed he didn't.
Right. That's right.
Yeah,
he sure did.
He didn't.
He's not here for that.
Yeah, he was there to make that couple dollars and to play that bass and go home. That's why he said we want to get done with this recording too, because I'm ready to go. It was high. They don't get treated like my Rainey. They ain't getting cokes. They not getting fans on them. You know what I'm saying? They're ready to go too. But I feel like
she barely got it.
Right.
Yeah,
but I think that's also that's
that.
probably what added into my dislike of my Rainey's character. I think too is that everyone was really behind her, and I felt like, and that's why I felt so upset when she asked for a coke, because I was like, so you was late, right? They was like, when am I coming? He was like, hey, Ma show up when she show up. You know, she knows that she's supposed to be here. So I think that's probably what I didn't like. I felt like, especially I know she opened up with Cutler a little bit. But I also felt like she was just also meaner to the band. Like we said earlier, like maybe the band really didn't have all that coming, because it was Levy and the recording studio that was really the problem. But I felt like everybody just felt her wrath. But I understand her not being able to be vulnerable because of the time. I mean, any type of weakness was definitely a problem. So I understood it. I think that, like I said, I didn't like any of these characters other than like the band. Like I was like, y'all are all doing so much.
and then entertainers today is the same way. They want they pop or whatever type of beverage.
A hotel, a flight, a meal.
Right.
I need my water to be this temperature, or I'm not getting on the stage.
Well, I want these kind of flowers in my hotel room. I want my dressing room floor to be shiny.
I need that lighting to be a smidge brighter there.
So it still goes on today.
I mean, but when you get that right, why not? I mean, I know somebody's like, you ain't got to be that ungrateful. Well, not ungrateful. You ain't got to be that boisterous. You ain't got to be that, do what I say. But sometimes you just, when you get to a certain level of success or whatever, you know you earned that, and you know you didn't get what you need to do to get that. I mean, I ain't saying honestly, be a tyrant.
Well, that's what they do. They build, well, at least today's society, they build you up. They're like, what you want? You want one license? Okay, I'm gonna go get it. And this, if you have all these people for me to cater for you, cater to you, and then you go somewhere and these people are not catering to you, you are a diva. If you're a diva here, you want to be a diva everywhere because you're used to it.
That's right.
You know
I mean, you have to be that way to get that high up anyway, though. If you're not an aggressive person, you won't make it in show business. If you shrink back when people talk to you, you won't get what you want. So, I mean, I understand it. I get it. If you're not this aggressive person, people will take all your money. People
then they'll take your money. And then after a while, you made to be that way.
Like how they was trying not to pay the nephew. He talking about something, you gonna pay the nephew out of your shit. If I would have paid my nephew $25 out of my check, I would have done so. But
that was the best
that's
part.
not what's happening. You gonna pay him, get him his money.
Even though he made him lose money, all them records. But so what? He got it right.
No, and them papers wasn't signed. That's what it was.
And she was smart. She was smart.
She didn't sign her name
dragging them on as long as she could.
As long as she could. She set her foot in that car because and that's what I said, she was wise about it too. She knew her stuff, and she knew like, okay, well, you still can't do nothing. We can record all day long, but you can't do nothing until I release it.
Right.
So we could be in here for hours, 2 days.
That was the whole scene with the paper that she had. That's what I was wondering. Okay.
And they were sweating bullets. They was like, come on,
Yeah, her
They
manager was like,
was
please,
good.
please do it, please do it.
Yeah.
So
They was
why do
really
y'all
trying.
feel like what's her name? Deuce?
Dusty.
Desi. Why do y'all feel like she was so comfortable with just going downstairs with Levy and doing what they did?
I
Because she really like women.
like her.
Clearly
I
showed
wouldn't
she
like
was a
her
gold
either.
digger.
Yeah. But she was the
Just
hoe.
saying.
She was a hoe.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
What they
Because
call
he
them back
talking
then,
about
little
all
flapper
she
or
was
something?
saying, like, if
Little
you sit there,
Right.
I'm getting this,
Right.
I'm getting that,
Right.
and not talking about getting her
That's it,
this and
right.
that. And stuff.
Yeah.
So clearly she was just bouncing to where
Right.
she
She was-
can
yeah.
get
He's
what she
watching
can get.
Levy the
She
whole
was
time.
already doing too much.
She
That
was.
was too much.
Or
So-
was
He
do
was
you think
watching
she
Levy the
really
whole
wasn't
time.
into Ma like that? Like you said, I mean, you
I
just
think
looking
No,
your
she-
way.
that's what I think.
Watching
I
Levy
don't-
the whole time.
Yeah, like you said, yeah, you was looking at Levy the whole time, the whole movie,
Right.
wherever y'all was at,
The
you had
whole
your eyes on
time.
him, but you here with Ma. So were you really into that, or like you said, were you just doing that because
Oh,
that's how you
somebody-
was
she
living?
a
Yeah,
hoe.
that's how you was surviving.
Exactly.
I thought Levy was gonna make it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that was the conversation she
yeah,
had
she
with
did.
him too, though, because
she
she
was
did
gonna make it.
say he kept saying, "I'll buy you all this stuff," and she said, y'all talk a lot of talk, but ain't nobody
Exactly.
showing me like nothing that they
Exactly.
could do."
That's on
That's
So
what
period.
I'm saying.
That's on
Right.
I
period.
think that it was interesting. I don't think that she felt that way with Ma, especially, and I also felt like while Ma liked her, she seemed to treat her like a child. Like when she was over there dancing, she was
She
like,
did.
"Go sit down somewhere,
Also-
go on
Yeah,
somewhere."
mhm.
Like, so I think, and that's where we all mistook her for her niece, right? Because when Sylvester, like
Right.
his nephew, hit the car, she was like, "Well, it was Sylvester's fault." Like, and it's like, but why are you in the front with him? Like, and I think that she
Yeah,
might have
I
been with the
understand
nephew
that.
too. Like, why aren't you in the back with Ma? Like, she won't let you sit with her or
Right.
Because Ma
something.
knew she was
but-
a floozy. Go sit down while you're trying to shake your tail when you're recording yet. You know that's what you do on stage.
That's
She
right.
wasn't even on
That's right.
stage. She wasn't even on
Yeah.
stage. She was on the back, on the side,
Yeah, while you all
wearing the
gyrating.
dances and whatnot.
Go sit down because you
She
doing
looked like a taller Sarah. I'm just playing.
Yeah, she seemed to like not have been around long, and she clearly like I think that
Yeah, like she just picked her up somewhere or something.
But she had
Yeah.
been around long enough for the rest of the band to know. You get what I'm saying? Because when they peeped it, they were like,
Yeah.
he's paying attention to everything
Yeah.
besides what he's supposed to be paying attention to. You
Right.
went
You know that's
downstairs with
Mom's
the girl.
girl.
Yeah, they like, yeah,
Right.
he's like, you gonna stop messing with my
Right.
girl, and when you gonna learn? When you gonna learn?
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah,
that
I
just make me think maybe she really was a gold digger back in the day because
Yeah.
she was just trying to go
Think.
with whoever was gonna
Right.
make it.
Well, she was bouncing around.
Yeah,
Oh,
whoever
you
was
Think
gonna
it was very evident.
go from there. Yeah,
Y'all even remember in the beginning when she was on stage and she, you know, she want to be in lights, she want money, she want fame, she just so it's very evident. I'm just
yeah, I didn't like her. Though. I felt like I was like almost like, why is she in the movie?
So she
Right.
was the character, that girl who hopped from celebrity to get to the top. Anyway, she
right,
can.
right. Mhm.
and then
And
Levy was
unfortunately,
offering
we still
something
got
she
those
actually
girls
liked.
today.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I mean, opportunists are everywhere. It's not even just the rich and the
Mhm.
famous. You could have an opportunist up under you, and I mean, we work at the library. We might know some opportunists. Like I don't know what you gonna get, but
Right.
you know, I
You
think
get to
that that's
use a computer for free.
right. I think there's a certain amount of unfortunately, I think there's a lot to say about every single character in this movie, because everyone showed all walks of life. And honestly, I feel like if we would have known more about Dusty, she could have just been trying to get by. Like a lot of people really are just trying to get by. I mean, Sylvester didn't seem like he was too interested in actually doing the part either. Like it sounded like he was like, I mean, okay, I guess Ma. Like she was like, "You're gonna do this," and he was like, "Okay."
Well, I don't know, because
Like,
when she called Levy out about him, she's like, I know it was Levy's idea not to do
Right?
it. And he was like, yes, it was you. Like he
he really did throw him under the bus, and he was like, "It was Cutler," and Cutler was like, "It was me," and he was like, "Nope, Levy." And I was like, "Wow." Like, all right. So the big question we always ask: who was the real villain? Who was the real villain?
Ugh. Levy was his own villain. Okay.
Levy was his own villain.
This is
I might say the
That short,
recording
fat one.
people.
the recorders.
Yeah,
short fat
Yeah.
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
main
I think
villain-
he at the end of the day it was him. Cause I ain't like what he did.
I'm glad y'all said recorders. I was about to say something else.
I think they're the main
I wouldn't consider them villains
general.
because Ma handled them. She did it.
I mean, she
But I
did.
would say
But look what they did at the end, though.
What they did to him.
How they even tricked him, like, oh
And
yeah.
then you look around and
looking
they
for
are
him.
singing his song off.
Yeah. Like even the one man, who was it? Was it her manager or was it the recording guy who was looking for him when all the band got there? Like, where's the trumpet player? You know what I'm saying? Like they were egging him on, if you ask me.
Right.
You know, so that those thoughts being in his head is what pumped him up even more. What made him be so, oh yeah, I want to know.
He had been taking his music all along.
Right.
To take his music. That's why he was little. Oh, wait a minute. While we getting mine, let's make sure Levy comes. So we, we got him in the bag. We got him thinking that a third.
And he really liked the song that he was writing. That's why he made him finish it. He like, all right, hurry up, finish that song. Because he really liked that song, but he wanted his other people to record it.
I think the main antagonist,
Yes.
That little fake orchestra.
Yes.
And Harvey was directing. Yeah, wasn't he? Or he was in the recording just cheesing like, oh yeah, we got a hit now.
What's wrong with there? What is wrong? What you got to say?
I think the main antagonist was the recording. I think I will say that much. I think the movie made it out to seem like they were the real villains, which is why the ending was. As of the real villain, I think it was Levy, and I think it was Levy, not only his own villain, but not only did he he took Toledo out the band as well. So now Ma Rainey's got to find another piano player, and he took a man's life over something I feel like was extremely petty. I mean, under our undertones, we know that specifically, like, there was way more building up to that. Like, but I think that the movie, the main antagonist obviously was the recording industry, quote unquote, maybe just the white man in general for this movie. But I think the villain, my villain, was Levy, because he took out Toledo and possibly took himself. He was getting thrown out the band anyway.
But the real villain of the whole movie was racism. Who
you felt like was the real villain? But
racism was the real villain. Because this whole thing,
society,
the whole
thing.
Mom
would have to act like that if they weren't treating her the way they were treating her.
Absolutely. Without a doubt.
Now, did anyone watch the extra 30 minutes that they had at the end for like the
documentary?
Yeah, I watched pieces of it.
I did.
Me neither.
What do you think of it, Jennifer?
I liked it. I don't know if anybody will.
I didn't watch it.
I love Denzel Washington was the producer. Didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Hearing the man George who wrote it, and how into it he was, like we've all been saying, like Ms. Cook said, racism, everything, just how we were treated, how we put so much, how we've given the world so much, how a lot of everything comes from us, you get what I'm saying, but we're still treated so wrong and we're not given the credit we deserve. And like we said, this is one of the first African-American women blues singer who's recorded ever, you get what I'm saying? And that alone, you know what I'm saying, like everybody said, you get pieces from all turns of life, every situation. You know what I'm saying? You could see pieces of yourself in almost everybody who was in the film, or pieces of people that you know what I'm saying? Your ancestors, your grandparents, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can see that. And then just seeing, like Jake said, just hearing how powerful and how passionate they were, I was like, okay. But I feel you. I wish you would have knew a little bit more.
Most blues singers started out as females. And now, when you think of blues, you think of males, but females were the first
mention
blues
another
singers.
one. Actually, Bessie, I think an actual famous one that we know. She does mention her. She's like, I know she sings it, but I'm gonna sing it differently. Like she does in the movie at some point. Actually, mention another
Bessie Smith.
Yeah, like I think she says, I know she sings it, but I'm gonna sing it better. And I was like, this is also very interesting.
She took it from me. I'm sure she took that from me. I'm saying
But I think the acting was awesome. I mean, the acting, the
Viola,
two main characters played the part too. Real.
Yeah. And then if you've ever seen, I've never seen like Chad in a role like that, and I think for it to be like one of his last roles,
Right.
he played, excuse my language, the hell out of that. He played
did.
that
I
role.
agree.
And I
He
feel like
did.
I've always heard like if a character in a movie makes you mad or gets you riled up, then he's done his job. You get what I'm saying? And I was
He
like,
made me
I
mad.
was
Yes, he did.
pissed. I was so frustrated. Like,
Right.
really? You know what I'm saying?
What are you
Like,
doing? Like,
literally, what are you doing? Like, relax,
And then,
relax.
Why are
and then
you
the
like
thing,
this?
he had to be sick then. You know, he had to be sick, you know, with cancer.
Right.
Exactly.
Because he, you know, he just died all of a sudden. You
which
know,
is why
he
the
had
part
to
where
sit-
he had the cigarette, I was watching it like, is he actually gonna put that in his mouth?
I was wondering that too. I was
Like,
like, oh.
ah. But he didn't.
That's
If
so
you watch
funny.
it, he did not put it in his mouth. The camera angle changed, and then he gave it back.
Oh.
I'm not saying, yeah, but him, he did that. Viola Davis, I love her as an
Yeah, she
actress,
can
and
act
she
good,
played
yeah.
that. I read something where she had to like gain weight for the role and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
Yes, she had to gain weight. You can see it in her face. Like I was really looking at her
Yeah.
face. Like if you watch
Then
like
the way she was standing.
you know, the way
It's
she was
all bad,
walking,
bad.
everything. Those two really.
Even
They
though I
had
know
an
they put
amazing
that suit
cast.
under there somewhere, but
Yeah,
I'm
honey,
like,
that
yeah.
makeup, honey,
Yeah.
that makeup on it.
Yeah,
is
she was
something.
sweating. I just I said I
I
love.
said, oh my goodness, what is going on
I
here?
It
didn't
was
know if she
scary.
was hot and bothered or drunk. I'm like, in the beginning, I'm like, I don't know what's
Yeah,
going on.
I
I think it was both.
You probably
I think it
both.
was
When she
both.
was
Both
talking,
of them.
Right.
Both of them. But yeah, that's what I said. I loved it. I definitely think it was a good pick for sure. Like I said, I didn't know Ma Rainey was real. I didn't know anything like
Me
that.
either.
I didn't
said,
know
what?
she, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, she was one of the first recording blues singers. I didn't know anything like that. So I definitely appreciate Miss Cook giving us this suggestion.
Yeah.
'cause
Yes,
it's-
thank you, Miss
But
Cook. Thank you.
it was definitely good. It's not a long watch. It's like an hour and a half.
Mhm.
Right.
It's on Netflix. Like Sarah said, there is like a little after show that does have to deal with it. But yes.
I got one more question before we go that I hope
Okay.
somebody can answer.
Okay, go ahead.
What is it?
Did anybody understand the beginning part when she was walking and all the black people just kept staring at her? Like, I didn't understand that.
So she came out that hotel.
Yeah, when she was coming, walking through the hotel, all the black people just looking at her and she was looking back or
So
whatever.
she had the girl on one hand.
Exactly.
She had the nephew on the other hand.
Then she get outside and they say she
Right. Sometimes they
I was
look down. Sometimes they look
Because
down.
probably she had the privilege that a white person has.
Right, they're probably looking at her like, "What'd you do?"
Exactly.
Right.
What that
What
we
did you
ain't
do
doing.
when you done came down here with the, you know? Yeah.
Remember that remember that at the time period here, slavery is done, but obviously we're still feeling the harsher effects. I mean, we're still feeling the effects, the harsher effects of colorism, of people being liked by a certain
Because
amount
most
of
of
people.
those people were
like
light
that.
skinned. She was dark
right.
skinned.
Oh, right.
So you're looking at like colorism.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still experiencing those parts and everything like that.
That makes sense.
honestly.
And my last point is, I like that it was short, but once Levy killed him, I was like, oh, I need more because I need.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yes.
Literally, like, did
Yeah.
they just leave him there? What
Like,
happened?
Man, I'm like,
Did he?
what's about to happen? I said, oh, that's the end.
That was a little cliffhanger that I was not here for. I
Yeah.
definitely needed to know what happened because, like, all that it just happened so quickly. We
I was
like,
like,
no,
you on the
Toledo,
run
he didn't-
now?
They didn't even do the
Like,
ending
wait,
like
what?
you said what happened to each character. I'm like,
Right.
come on. Like,
I felt bad. I'm like, why did this have to end like this? Like,
yes.
Toledo
I was so
like,
upset.
yeah,
I loved Toledo.
I love Toledo.
He was my favorite character. He wasn't studying nobody.
No, but like we said, that just shows how much I mean, when people snap, you never know what people are going through, but when they snap, you know what I'm saying? And it's also
he
a
took
fact
it all out on Toledo.
of mental illness for sure. I feel like he definitely had some type of mental illness, and we had to think about the times where they didn't even probably know what mental illness was. You know what I'm saying? How to handle it.
Yeah.
Just imagine going through that. They didn't have no counselors.
No.
Exactly.
Nope.
Exactly.
You just dealt with it. And
Exactly.
you just
I mean, it
go
still
through
doesn't
life.
register now.
Yes,
I mean,
it's the same
really,
way now.
still doesn't register now. Everyone
That's
still
loud. I
tells you
still feel
that
like
you're
counseling and psychology
right.
and those doctors are for white people and stuff. And it's
They
like,
say use therapy
no.
for crazy folks. Like, and I
Yeah,
think that's the thing.
right.
It's a lasting
walking around in your
effect.
own head.
I mean, it's like the Black community already has to do these extra steps, and it's like if I deem
Right.
myself this, now I gotta do this.
Do
this and
extra
that.
more, yeah.
It's an extra part for everybody. It's an extra part on your medical. You know, your medical goes up, and then even on applications, you know, it's considered a disability. So they're asking for that information as well. And I think that those are like the terrifying parts too, is that even if a Levy is sick, I mean, he couldn't get any help. And some people today in 2021 can't get help. So that's what resonated with me probably the most, actually. I was like, this must be something really wrong with him. And unfortunately, everyone just has to, people just ignore him. And now a man's dead, you know, because he didn't have anyone to talk to. I mean, he seemed to live alone, be alone. He said he was 35, 30, 32, something like that. He was in his 30s.
Yeah.
So.
Didn't have nothing but his trumpet.
Yep. And some dreams.
And
Trumpet and some dreams.
That was it. That was it.
But it was a great movie. It really was.
Yes. That's what I said. It was definitely a great film. We recommend it to everybody. Like I said, on a Saturday night, Friday evening. It's like an hour and a half long. It is found on Netflix. It is Rainey's Black Bottom. And yes, thank you so much again for joining the East Cleveland Public Watch Club. Stay tuned. Next month, March, is International Women's Month, so we will be posting something within the next week or so of our plans and what we will be watching for Women's Month in March. So we will see you then. Happy Black History Month, and we will catch you later.
Bye.